All right, you guys, it is Jumbo Shark 19, and I am back at you with another Dokkan battle video. And I'm recording, this on, it's the 17th. It's St. Patrick's Day, so hey, happy St. Patrick's Day. Um, corned beef and cabbage, by the way, like we just got to open the video out. Like corned beef and cabbage is goated. All right, seriously, goated. All right. Add some like glazed carrots, or just just carrots in general is pretty good. And then of course some boiled potatoes. I mean you just can't go wrong. It's just if you've never tried corned beef and cabbage, uh, it's just you gotta try it. It's good. It's good. And you know what's really cool about it too is like it's super cheap. Like it's just a super cheap hearty meal. But anyway, so happy St. Patrick's Day. But soon to be Saiyan Day. Soon to be Saiyan Day. That being said, like we are at least where I am. It's gonna come out a little bit earlier than the 18th. But hey, I'm not complaining. It's about time. I've had some fun with my Daima Vegeta. I'm ready to move on. Of course, summoning, right? Just summoning kick, right? No. In all seriousness, so pretty exciting, right? Because this kid Goku, is pretty good. I mean, like he's like really good, right? He's probably really good. I do think there are some aspects that are like pretty disappointing. Just in terms of like the version of Kid Goku, like it's just the fishing and stuff. Like it's cute. Like, don't get me wrong. Like it's cute. Like it's adorable. Animations are like they're good. It's just um people have waited a long time for like OG Dragon Ball representation. Like we really just don't get it often. And people just want certain really hype moments, and I totally get it. Like I'm a Dragon Ball fan. Um, and I totally get it. So it's just one of those things. Like it is a little disappointing. I think the version of this Dragon Ball Goku, um, for sure. I do see that, but they did make up for it. I think by like his kit is pretty crazy, right? I mean by now I'm sure everyone here has watched everyone else's video and everything like that. I mean, the title of this video is, going to be "Should You Summon?" So I mean, I guess it makes sense to go over his kit and everything. I mean, here's the thing, right? I think just based off of early footage that I've seen from other YouTubers, and just from my gut feel about his kit, is he's going to be very strong in a lot of content. I do have I do wonder there's one question I do have that I'm sure isn't going to be that big of a deal, but it is a question. One weakness I could potentially see is that gap in shorter events, like Battle Hardened a little bit, where you don't have the guard up, right? Where you don't get this up, and you don't get a lot of stacks necessarily, right? Um, because one thing about this Goku that, again, early, private service footage that I just saw, I didn't play it myself or anything, um, is that he's actually like pretty powerful, like especially attack wise, like right off the bat. Like he stacks pretty fast, right? And then especially if you activate this active condition, not that active condition right here, which is just third turn. Like in Truth's video, he literally went from like a 9 million attack stat to like throwing out like 20 or something. Like it was crazy. Like by turn three, right? And so that's really powerful. Um, defensively, he's probably going to be just fine, right? He's going to be 70%, or 60%, and then if you're running Path to Power, right? But I just wonder that little gap in between, like I'm talking like maybe turn five, right? Like turn 4 or 5, in a hard hitting event, he's probably going to do fine, right? Because especially because he has that 22% chance to dodge. When attacking with 12 or more ki, so we'll have to explain this. There's a really good tweet by Proton that explains this. It's really really awesome. Actually, it breaks it down. But I mean, basically, it just really depends. Like, how do I want to start? Should you summon? Should we just start with the breakdown? I'm not sure. I mean, we're already here, so I guess the main because we'll look at the banner, right? Like the banner is definitely something to talk about because I think there I starting when I saw this last night, my opinion, let me put it this way, my opinion has changed a little bit, I think. I was a little bit more optimistic last night, but after thinking about it, but here's the thing. So we're looking at this main Goku. So right away, his leader skill is pretty good, right? Like Earthbred Fighters is a really strong category. DB Saga not so much. Like DB Saga like let's just look at Dragon Ball Saga. All right, because we're part of his kit, right? So part of his leader is Dragon Ball Saga, and then he needs a Dragon Ball Saga among others, but that is one of the categories to activate his entrance, right? Um yeah. So, we have some issues here, right? Um One good thing right away is that his EZA, Path to Power, Kid to Goku, EZA, I think is very strong. He's going to be a really good floater. I do, I do think some people are really over. I don't want to. Is it overestimating? I guess. I guess it is. How strong he is defensively. Like I'm just gonna like my argument for a little bit of his weakness is that he's a nuker in slot 3. Right, and it's just don't get me wrong. There's a lot of orb changers and stuff, and he changes orbs. But like, just in my experience, like I'm usually averaging even with the GT, the brand new EZA GT Super Saiyans. In my experience, like you're averaging a little bit around like 5 to 6 orbs, which he's still going to be very good. But I think people have these grand ideas that they're going to be getting like 10 plus orbs, which I don't know. Maybe their luck is different than mine. We'll have to see. Right? But either way, very good, right? So dried away, so that is a good thing, all right? Chi-Chi, we're going to look at in just a second, is very good on herself, right? So this trio right here makes up, 30% of the team, 40% of the team, and they're really, really good. Then that's where we have a lot of problems, right? Because LR Bulma is you can still get away with her in some of the events, like some of the new red zones. I think you can. I haven't tested it out myself, to be fair, but just from what I've seen and the numbers, um, she is more than capable of some of the earlier stages for sure, right? But I mean, some of that new stuff, especially long content, like she struggles mightily, right? Tao is free to play. He hasn't gotten his EZA yet. He's a world tournament, so don't get your hopes up. It's probably not going to be very good. I mean, it's just saying. At this point, Ader does not look like he's going to be EZAing, so that's a huge miss. EZAing him right now would be so good. Having another like floating option, or even just a backup slot 1 or something. So we just, they're very slow on sub EZAs. Like the last sub EZA was Goten, right? And that was back in 2024, right? So, it's been a while. So they're really slow with these sub EZAs for some reason. I don't know why they've always been that way, but is what it is. This guy, right? I mean, one, it would same name, we'd be running 3 Gokus. Like no, right? So even if he had a Super EZA, that'd be really tricky, right? So I don't see that happening. I just don't. I don't see a Super EZA for him happening. Roshi is I mean, I'm sorry, Roshi's kind of cooked, man. I mean, there's just not much. I don't know, maybe I'm sure maybe some of the newer red zones, like some of the earlier stages and maybe some of the battle hardened fights, like maybe you could get away with them. I'll have to see. Like I don't have them to be fair. Like I'll preface that like I don't have them, right? Um but like he's kind of his kit I did not like his kit to begin with is just and I just don't think it's aged well at all. Especially in long events, right? So, I don't know. I hope I pull him because I don't have him, and I'm glad he is back because like he should be back. Like he released at such a bad time. Like no one summoned for him, which was good, right? He's not. I don't think he was good enough to summon on release myself. But it is good to see him back so soon, because he is no matter what, like he is a buff to the Dragon Ball Saga team. Like I do think, like I said, you can use him to beat some events, right? Or if you're a newer player, like you can absolutely like get away with running like a Dragon Ball team with like Roshi, this Goku, um, a lot of these older units you could and beat like a lot of the actual like 90% of the game or something like that. You probably could beat. So that is good that he's here, right? Like he's not like a zero. Just don't look at him as like, oh man, he's my ace in the hole. Like I'm finally gonna beat um, you know, blue Vegeta and blue Goku or something. Like, no, he's. I don't see it, right? This Bulma, if you can get her in a dodging fight, like if you can dodge, she's great. If you can't dodge, do not bring her. She can kind of get to like a million defense, I think, something like that. But no, just she does not have the defensive capabilities really. So she's very good. It's just you need to dodge, right? What is her? I mean, she seals, so that could be some events depending. She has high chance. Yeah, the support. She is a very good support unit and a rainbow orb changer. So that would be really good to help path the power out, but you're probably floating her. I mean, she's a good like slot. She's a good slot one character. So wait a minute. Hang on a second. I thought she was a little bit better. Wait a minute. She has 50% chance to evade. In slot 1, she gets an extra 10%. Wait, no. Before receiving an attack. So this is only good for AoEs. So she has 60% against AoEs. Which, hey, yeah, hey, there's some really good AoE bosses, right? Like Broly and oh man, Broly and I'm picturing him in my head. That other fight that has the AoE that I can't. Cellmax, Cellmax, yeah, Cellmax. So that's good for Cellmax, but that's interesting. Okay, for every attack evaded, she does stack an extra 20% though, so she's just a little iffy early on. She probably could do actually pretty fine against a lot of normals. She gets a lot of defense in various places. But again, like it's just dodge or die for the for the most part, right? But a good support for the team. Definitely a W if you pull her. I think she can be a good spot unit for sure. She can fill in. But after that, it really falls off a cliff, right? Demon King Piccolo, very good, brand new free to play LR. He's restricted to extreme class or demonic power, but I mean extreme class, right? Uh, yeah, I haven't seen anybody really talk about. I don't even. You can't even rainbow this guy yet. So I mean, like he's just not, and he's not going to be able to stand up. It's been a while, but like, yeah, no, he's not great. So you can't run him. These guys need an easy A. Maybe that's coming. I don't know what they're waiting for. When did they come out? 2024, 530. So we're going on almost a year. So hopefully soon, right? Hopefully soon. Um, Pilaf gang, I don't see them. Maybe some of the early stages. Roshi again, maybe some really early of the new stages, but I don't think so. There's just nothing here, right? This Demon King Piccolo again, you want to run with another. You just want to run extreme fodder. They need an easy A. You can't run. Can't even tame him. Not and they're not good anyway. Mai is actually pretty good. Again, if you can dodge, she's pretty good. Um, okay, so Mai actually, okay, so she is DB Saga. Okay, I thought it was just Peppy Gal. So this is actually really good. She actually might be a really good run on here because she gets 50% base evade, and she gets an extra 20% with DB Saga or Peppy Gals. So she's at 70% chance to evade. She also has a couple additionals, and she's a support. Yeah, she'll be a support. So Mai's actually a W. If you don't, which she's only been on the free banner, like the anniversary free banner, and then the Peppy Gals, right? So she's a W for sure if you can pull her. So yeah, definitely go. Mai's actually a good option, I think. Free to play, you can't, not, it's not good, not good. Uh, he was actually pretty good free to play on release, but he needs an easy A. Not usable anymore. This Bulma you could use. She's just dodge again. What do we have? She has 29% dodge for 49 for 4 turns, built in plus 50% base, and yeah. So some shorter content you could get away with her, but otherwise you're cooked, right? Um, you're 50% dodge. So you're just not bringing her. I mean, again, maybe if you're really desperate and for a mission or something, you probably could fit her in there and just coin flip, but not ideal. Needs an easy A, good, unrunnable at this point. He used to be very good, but you just can't. He just can't hold up. Um, his easy A hasn't come out yet. It's gonna come out with World Tournament, and unfortunately, it's a little rough. It's a little rough. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. A little rough. But yeah, no, it's just there's nothing. There's just nothing. I mean, I guess we'll finish the list, right? Sheik has a little bit of dodge, I think, right? But other than that, like you don't want to run her. Yeah, I mean, there's just not damage reduction, but it's too high at this point. You can't. I've used this guy actually somewhat recently, and he's too slow to stack. Kami has dodge. Hey, God Kami, DB Saga, right? Hey, if you need a 30% dodging unit, he's got your back. Or what is it, 20, 30%? Why? Okay, that was you guys saw that, right? Like it was on the easy. Okay, whatever. Yeah, his 60% attack and slot, or 60% chance to dodge in slot one, and then 30% afterwards. Brilliant design. So yeah, all I'm trying to say, God, that took a little bit to go over the category, but there's not a lot of options. So if you're think about that going into this banner is if you go into this banner not having like Path to Power Kid Goku, not having Bulma, um, uh, like it like Mai or something, I think, like you really have to hope that you pull Goku and probably Chi Chi as well or Roshi. Like you need to pull these guys and have them to make it runnable, I think. So that's just something to think about value wise. Like if you go in here and you don't pull like if you just pull Chi Chi, like I think she could still do some things, I think, but like she's mainly you want to run her with a Kid Goku, right? Um so that's something to think about category wise. And so that is something to think about kit wise as well. Like again, there are some really good characters that are going to activate this DB saga. But thankfully, he has youth in Dragon Ball Seekers. Let's just put it that way. It's a long-winded way. I just spent a long-winded way of saying like, thankfully he has youth in Dragon Ball Seekers because that really opens up the category, right? If we look at youth, um, we've just got some really really good buffs in these guys, right? These guys are absolutely top tier. Gohan and Piccolo, I actually think they could be pretty good for the new battle event, that really long one. But they're a little iffy otherwise. They need an easy A. He needs his easy A. He'll get his easy A this year, this Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. But then they're not going to link, right? That's going to be interesting. But again, youth drops off quite a bit because you have this guy Super Easy A, and you could definitely run this with the Kid Goku. I think would be fine, right? I think that would be fine. But after that, like there are not a lot of good youth TURs. We have not gotten a lot of good youth TURs. All right, let's just take a look. Yeah, nothing, nothing, nothing. This Gotenks is pretty good, but you're probably not running him on the team. One of the worst banner units of literally all time. She's old, but I guess theoretically she's dodge, like 60% dodge, I guess, but she's not supporting. She wouldn't be supporting anybody on the team, right? Well, I mean, I mean, there's a couple. Yeah, I mean, that would support a lot of the characters on the team, to be fair. But yeah, anyway, there's just no good youth. A lot of good. There's just not a lot of good youth. I mean, again, like you could run these guys, but then you want to kind of run the team around them. It gets a little bit weird team building wise. Gifted, what is he? What is his support? Gifted warriors and siblings bond. Yeah, he's not. That's a Vegeta link usually. Gifted warriors and then siblings bond, of course. Bond a parent and child though, so Pan support. Um, so we can close this DB Saga. There's just not much to be said, right? So yeah, so there again, there's just a lot of issues. there's not a lot of, again, there's a couple top tier options right here, but and they'll probably work pretty good, right? Especially with like Path to Power Kid Goku support. But you're going to be missing out on a lot of links, and I don't know. It's just going to be a little bit of a wonky team, right? A little bit of a wonky team. And again, even if this guy's super easy A's, it's like, are you really going to be running three same name characters that can't link? Four, actually, double leaders. If you do a double leader skill, that's going to be four. So, again, pretty big issue there. So youth has some issues, right? And then Dragon Ball Seekers is where it does have a little bit of a pretty big redeeming effect here, because Dragon Ball Seekers is going to be getting a ton of buffs. We've already gotten a ton of buffs with the Daima characters, but all the Daima characters are going to be on it. So we're going to see that throughout the year. So Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to be on it. Adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Adult Super Saiyan 4 Goku. The Tamagamis probably won't be on Seekers, I guess. But Majin Ku and Do, they should be on it. If they release like an Arisu one, like she should be a support unit of some sort, like a banner unit. She'd be on Dragon Ball Seekers. Goma will be on Dragon Ball Seekers, right? So you can see like there's a lot of Dragon Ball Seekers category. Now, how well they'll work with Kid Goku, I don't know, but a lot of potential, right? But there is a lot of drop off as well, right? So you have this guy who's very good, very runnable. I think actually would probably be fine on the team. Um, Pan needs an easy A, but I don't think she would. I don't see her being a good fit. And again, like a lot of the same units, some crossover that just don't work. Good card, great unit. Probably not using him on the team, right? Yeah, you're not using any of these people. Uh, food for thought. What if she, man? What would her super easy A look like? B Pans, right? B Pans super easy A. So you go through there, and then like I know I'm yapping a lot, but like it just so you have the Daima, which is good, but then there's just a lot of drop off. So these are really good, top tier. Slug, you're not running with Kid Goku. I'm sorry, you're not. Scouter Vegeta, no, I don't know, right? Like I don't think so. That'd just be really weird. And then there's just nothing, right? Like, is there anything I'm missing that's like, oh no, wait a minute, you could run this guy? Uh, yeah, no. No, right. So there's just it's pretty limited. So that's just something to consider is like a big part of his kit is this intro. And unless you've pulled some of these more recent units, you could be struggling a little bit. You have to have a lot of good luck on this banner. Now, again, this banner should probably have Path to Power Kid Goku on it, I think. I don't think he's getting his own Easy A banner, so I think that confirms it, right? Hopefully Path to Power Kid Goku's on here, because that'd be really good. Even I don't have him rainbowed, right? I don't have him rainbowed, so there's something to think about there. Um, so yeah, so that's like 15 minutes talking about the intro, sure. But yeah, so that's a big part of his kit, something to think about for summoning, right? Wanting to get the most out of this unit. He stacks, which is really good, so that's why he's gonna be. And again, his leader skill, right? That's why like DB Saga like is pretty weak, right? And then Youth and Dragon Ball Seekers, like his 220%, his 250, 220% here, um, is pretty iffy. You're not gonna be hitting a lot of characters with that, I don't think. Um, But, his intro is very good. You want to get that, right? 40% damage reduction. And as a stacker, getting an additional super, not a chance, an additional, that's huge. Like, you need to get you need to get this active. And then from there, it's just really good, right? He gets base damage reduction of 20%, attack and defense 200%, launches an additional attack with a great chance, 70%, right? He gets, so the way this works, right? This is huge. This is huge. So, this is how it works. Goku, if he has 12 key when you attack, which you're gonna have, like you're gonna have 12 key. Every single attack he gets, every additional, gives him a chance to proc, and it doesn't matter if it's a super. I don't think it matters if it's a super. I think it just matters if it's an attack at 12 key, right? So, for each attack he does, he has a 22% chance of activating 100% dodge. So how does that work? This actually works quite a bit different than any mechanic we've seen before, because as we know now for every unit in the game is, dodge usually kind of like the mechanic usually like stacks in some way. That's how it works. Like UI Goku and stuff, like the dodge adds up, right? This is not that. This does not like if you get 3 attacks, you suddenly get a 66% chance to 100% dodge or something like that. No. You get a 22% chance per attack of activating 100% dodge. So, your first attack, your first super, you super 12 key. You have a 22% chance of activating 100% dodge. If you activate it, you have 100% dodge for the rest of the turn. You had a 78% chance of not dodging, but of not activating it, but you did. You beat the odds. Congratulations on your very first attack, right? But let's say you didn't. All right, you failed it. You did not activate the 22% chance. You get 0 dodge. No dodge. But then you super again. You get a built-in additional, right, from his intro. It's another base 22%. It's not 44%. It's just another 22% chance of activating 100% dodge. So again, you have to get lucky. You have to beat the odds. It's 78% chance that you don't activate it. So let's say you attack your second attack, you don't activate it, but then you get that third attack. That third attack comes in, right, from his passive. It's just another 22% chance, another roll of the dice. All right, and then if you get hidden potential, it's the same thing. It keeps going. As many attacks as he does, he just keeps rolling until you get it, and then you get it, and then you're done, right? So yeah, didn't proc when performing, he won't dodge. So it resets each turn. A lot of people have been confused about this, and it's not just dodge; it's also crit. So for each of these chances, he just has a base 55% chance of critting the rest of the turn. All right, so if you attack 2 times, you have 55% chances on their own. They don't stack, right? So, something to consider, but that makes him actually like really good. Like that's really interesting. Like yeah, 22% chance, but the 22% chance to 100% dodge is I don't know. I feel like you're good. Like I feel like that'll come through. I don't know. I don't know. It just depends on your luck with dodging, right? But that being said, it's gonna be one of those things, right? Like he's gonna be quad supering for a lot of people turn one. Um, you're gonna be stacking, right? A lot, and then when you get this active off, like I said, like there's actually like there's a strategy here. Sorry, this where like in the new Festival of Battles, like you actually don't want to activate this for a while because it makes him too powerful. You're gonna be killing opponents too quickly that you're not gonna be able to stack with them, right? So this little guy is very very powerful, and in longer events, I asked this on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Does losing this 40% damage reduction rate, because he's only going to get like 3 rotations of it, right? When he loses that, does having the guard at that point make up with it with the amount of defense he has? And I think he probably will be at a pretty good spot, right? I mean, is it possible for this guy to have like a million plus defense after 7 turns? Probably, right? So, a million plus defense, guarding with 20% damage reduction, then with a built-in 22% chance to dodge every single attack for the rest of the turn. You know, I think this could be a very, very good unit for sure. But again, I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of. Well, Earthbred Fighters is going to be buffed all the time, but DB Saga, it might be a while. It might be a while. Um, yeah. So something to consider, right? And then of course Chi Chi, right? I don't think you necessarily need to pull Chi-Chi with Goku for Goku to be good, but and I don't think like you need Goku for her to be good, like in terms of just like looking at her kit, like what she does. Like she doesn't necessarily rely on a Kid Goku. I mean, don't get me wrong, like there's a big part here, but like she's pretty good without that. But like you kind of do want her, right? Like to fill out the team because the team is so weak. But like basically, here's what she's doing, right? She's raising attack and defense, lowering it as well for the enemy. She has a really good start of turn, attack and defense 2200%, 50% chance to do an additional, and then her support's great. It's a great support, right? It's 30% to all superclass, making her a little bit versatile for sure. And then it's an extra 30% for DB Saga. So for DB Saga, like she is cracked for that. Like that is insane support for like Goku stacking. And then and on top of that, Path to Power Kid Goku, like what he can do and the stats that he's going to be able to get to with that 60% support, that's huge, right? You definitely would like to get her, right? And then of course, she does get some attack. She's like I didn't see the showcase. I didn't see a showcase on her or anything, so I don't know how high she's hitting, but she's got a lot of attack multiplicative in here. Like she's got a lot of attack going. Um, she gains some attack and defense for supering, which she's gonna get pretty easily. Right away, builds up pretty fast. She gets a couple of buffs. She also has an additional super if the enemy's in a like down passive, which it includes defense down, which a lot of events still allow you to lower defense, so that could be very good. So that could actually come into play a little bit. So she could, like I said, she's gonna be doing. She'll build up very fast. This passive right here. So she's gonna be guaranteed critting. After 4 super attacks, she'll guaranteed crit. Yeah. So don't give her any crit. I mean, she's a support unit. She's a support unit. Don't give her any crit. And probably the wisest advice probably would be like full dodge. I'll probably go heavy additional personally, but dodge is probably the best, right? But then youth. So with a youth category, she gets another 200% defense. So she could be pretty beefy, I think. And then she gets a high chance to dodge. And then she gets guard with a Goku and an extra 150% defense, which is multiplicative. So she's very, very, very good. Absolutely. You pull her, like she could actually, like I said, I think she could actually do some good work on super class teams. But she does benefit a lot from youth, and the Goku, obviously. So something to keep in mind. Um, and then yeah, from there, you guys, it's just really, um, I think he should be on the banner, right? Path to Power Kid Goku is going to be great. Huge support, damage reduction support, Rainbow Orb Changer, a great slot 3 floating unit, a really, I mean, the leader skill's okay. You could run 2 of them for sure. Um, what is this? Raise attack by 800%. Where does he have build up? Yeah, look at that support. So good. Okay, I don't think his active's going to be hitting that hard, honestly, because there's like he's not really getting any stacking anywhere. Like there's no build up really, like, so that's a little disappointing, unfortunately. But whatever, it is what it is. So he's very good, and so then just rounding it out from what we can see, again, Roshi, it's rough, man. It's really rough out there. You maybe could mess around a little bit, but he's so particular with what he wants to run Peppy Gals, and there's just not a good. I mean, like again, you pull this is no, there's no way Chi Chi's on Peppy Gals, right? She's too young. Yeah, good. Okay, that's just weird, right? No, good. I'm like, okay, good. So you can't even use her with Roshi, so she's not a buff. Again, Bunny Bulma or bust essentially, and then maybe Mai. Um, so again, Roshi is a little rough out there. I that's not a. I think it's good that he's back, but a lot of people are going to be disappointed getting him, I think. this is where I really kind of flip-flopped on the banner here. This Vegeta, I had a lot of hope for, thinking with the new long event, which I'm not putting a lot of stock in, but like it was like, okay, let's see what this guy can do. And to be fair, like I've used him. I haven't used him in the event myself, but like I have used him in some of the. Did I use him in a red zone, a new red zone, or did I use him in a anniversary battle? I think I did, and he ended up just not being kind of unimpressive. And then after watching Truth Showcase today, he just, man, it's a little, I don't know. I think in some shorter content, like he does have some interesting capabilities to be viable right away. Um, but you do need dupes, and he's still good. I think he's still good, but my opinion, I'll be honest, did lower a little bit after seeing his performance today. I was like, whoa, that's it. Like after all that stacking, like he just like AGL Scouter Vegeta after like stacking for 70 turns is throwing out almost like 100 million attack stats, and this guy, once you stack and transform with him, was doing like 30 million. It just was. I was really disappointed in that. It's crazy. So yeah, but he's still very good. And then actually, I think I'm a little bit higher on this UI Goku than a lot of people, because I do think there's a lot of value in the domain potentially. With more and more dodge canceling fights, like that domain does become a lot more beneficial, right? Um, it allows for more options, allows for more characters to be used that maybe wouldn't be able to be used, that are viable still because of their dodge capabilities. So I think that does have a lot of value. And it's not like he has like a 20% chance to dodge, although I get it, right? It feels like it. He failed me in my one of my more recent videos. Um, for sure, I get it, right? But like it is 70%. Like he can do some things offensively at this point, not crazy. With how much HP a lot of these bosses have at this point, but you can get if you can get that domain out. Like there's not a lot. Hey, at the end of the day, like there are not a lot of superclass domains. So that is something that is still something to look at. I still think he can do some work, right? And then from there, I don't know. We don't know the banner. People are hoping because there's no pity, so unfortunately there is no pity. We know that for sure. Hope people are hoping it's only a 7 featured. So this is 5 units. Path to Power Kid Goku is 6. I mean, we just got Daima, so it's not going to be the Daima characters. They could potentially throw another Saiyan Day. They could throw another old Saiyan Day, they could throw Majin Vegeta, man, or God Goku. It could be. Or what they should, in my opinion, what they should do is they should probably put Bunny Bulma, right? I think Bunny Bulma is one of the other top tier. I mean, I don't know, right? I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. Maybe it'll hint to the Super Easy A. Who knows, right? So we'll see. We'll see. So thinking about everything, if you've made it this far, which I doubt anybody did, but if you did, thank you. I appreciate you listening to my ramblings. Um, Oh, before final consensus, one good thing is that for, I don't know, 318 hours, however long that is, I don't know, something. Um, you do get 3+1. So for every 3 summons, you get one free. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. You get some free summons, but they're not going to be discounted. So it's 150 stones. Hey, listen. All I'm saying is Golden Week's coming up. Golden Week could be Daima Goku versus Goma, right? I'm just saying it could be. So something to think about. Like you just need specific setups. Like I don't think like if you're struggling, like if you're someone that really wants to beat that new long event, I still wouldn't say like go hearts out for this guy or anything, because like there'll probably be other units, and again, most of the rewards, the good rewards you get early on anyway. That being said, if you're a huge Kid Goku fan or OG Dragon Ball fan, I do think you probably should put a little love in this banner to show Bandai and the developers like, hey, because like people have been wanting them, right? So this is like, hey, this is like put up or shut up in my opinion, right? Like I listen, as a Dragon I gotta get a new headset. It just keeps turning off. Sorry. As a Dragon Ball OG Dragon Ball fan myself, like I see all the time over the years, like people complaining, we want more Dragon Ball representation, blah 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 blah, or it doesn't sell well, blah, back and forth, years and years and years. Like this is the time, like Dragon Ball fans, like I'm gonna put some love in it. Like I'm a content creator, sure, so I'm going to, but I would anyway because I do like him and he's pretty good. And again, this banner actually has a lot of value for me. I need a lot of I need dupes of like all these characters. I don't even have Roshi, right? So, but it's one of those things where put up or shut up. Put your money where your mouth is. All right, you want them to see this is your chance. Have Goku Coast top selling, right? Like, and then show them like, oh man, people want OG Dragon Ball. We gotta pump out more OG Dragon Ball. So that is something to consider. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, so they come out in 2.5 hours from now. So 11:18 p.m. for me. So we'll be, I'm thinking as of recording this video right now, like I'm gonna throw this up right away. I'm thinking of going live. I got a lot of content I got to do. Right now I'm finishing some Popo event, like the Popo event's going away. But I have a lot of content I need to finish. And then Dokkan Chronicles. I haven't touched Dokkan Chronicles, and there goes away in like 4 hours. So like actually, that's what I'm gonna do right after this video. So maybe I'll go live. We'll see. We'll see. So yeah. So should you summon? In all honesty, I don't think you should. With Golden Week coming up, Dual Dokkan Fest coming up, it's just gonna be more hype. It's just gonna be better. Just trust. Just trust. But I do think there is a calculated, like, I don't know, I don't want to say risk necessarily, but I do think there is, incentive to summon to show love to OG Dragon Ball, right? I do think that is something to consider. But yeah, it's something to consider. Maybe throw a rotation at it. If you're a free to play player, maybe throw a rotation at it. 150 stones. You're gonna make most of that back during the celebration. But again, like if you're just like really on the fence, if you're just like, oh, I don't know, like I would just avoid it. I would wait for Golden Week for sure. But that's what I think. Let me know down in the comments what you think. If you watched this video, I appreciate it. So and until next time, you guys, it's Jumbo Shark 19. Have a good one.